If you're looking for Magic cards, look no further than Flipside Gaming. They have all the latest Magic singles and product that you need to actually leave the house and battle in Magic the Gathering. And right now, if you would like to save 10% on your orders from Flipside Gaming, use the promo code CGB at checkout. That is promo code CGB. Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. Today we're doing the deck that completed the green-white color challenge and a deck that I really enjoy, Immortal Explorers. I made a video about this deck a while back. If you haven't seen that, I would certainly check it out, but it is one I'm happy to play again as I enjoy it a great deal. The plan is using a combination of Path of Discovery and March of the Multitudes to completely overwhelm the opponent. It can gain a ridiculous amount of life with Wildgrowth Walker, and it can also just do an insane amount of damage when March of the Multitudes and Path of Discovery let you scry your whole deck, finding a Tristani or an Immortal Sun, and then pumping the team to do crazy damage. I'm going to have a good time playing this one. A few things about the build. If I could go back in time, I don't think I'd run to Arch of Orazca. I don't think it's needed. I very rarely end up using the card, so I'd probably trim those. And I really want another Immortal Sun. The Shalai takes the place as I wanted something to fight Settle the Wreckage, but Settle the Wreckage normally doesn't fix the problem against the deck, as more tokens just keep coming and coming and coming, and good attacks can play around Settle anyway. So I would have another Immortal Sun so that cards like Vivian Reed don't run absolutely rampant upon you. I still like the 1 binding, 3 tribunals to fight a fight with people who play with Ixalan's binding. An Ixalan's binding on your tribunal, for example, is usually a big deal, but an Ixalan's binding on the opponent's Ixalan's binding, getting back your tribunal, can make it work. And I think that 4 Path of Discovery is still the number. You really want to hit this, and you want to hit it on turn 3 with the help of an elf. But you need to have these out as soon as possible at as low a cost as possible, especially against red decks, so you can start doing your nonsensical things. All right, I don't think that there's too much more I have to say about the deck, except Memorial to Glory is your best friend against control. Against control, prioritize putting pressure on them until you can resolve a Path of Discovery. Once you've resolved this or an Immortal Sun, just wait until their end step to make creatures with Memorial to Glory to keep pressure on them and keep building up cards in your hand. Okay, let's go out there. Let's see who awaits a battle with the Immortal Explorers. Okay, this opener has 2 Wildgrowth Walkers, so if we draw any Explorer or Path of Discovery, we're really good. It has a Binding and a Shalai at 4, so if we draw any land, we're good. So I think that there's enough, while the hand doesn't work very well on its own, I think that there's enough power here that most of the cards off the top of the deck, say like well over 60% of them, turn this into a functional hand. So let's keep it. This is where I show that I read all my comments, even the ridiculous. This is not my editing. I was accused of editing out the ranks of my opponents because I play bronze scrubs, is what the commenter said. And this is not my editing. This is Magic Arena's editing when you play constructed events or regular play mode, which is where I do, I would say probably 90-some% of my filming. I'm not quite in, I'm doing a very specific project for ranked where I play very specific decks and track the results of those decks, which wouldn't jive with the decks I'm playing for YouTube. So we'll do ranked stuff in the future, but right now I'm in constructed event or regular play mode is sometimes what I supplement a constructed event with when I don't feel I got very good quality games in that mode. So that is why you see the editing. I know, devious, scandalous even. So we'll play Shalai and, ooh, or will we bind the Runaway Steamkin? We'll play the Shalai. This will allow me to March of the Multitudes next turn potentially, and we need Shalai out there to protect the Wildgrowth Walkers until we draw a way to explore, as the deck so far hasn't coughed up an Explorer creature, and an Explorer creature against the red deck is really clutch. I have a feeling my opponent has Wizard's Lightning. If they had a Lightning Strike, we would have already seen it hit the Walker. And playing the Pyromancer enables the Wizard's Lightning. Ooh, I'm gonna regret not binding that Steamkin, aren't I? Oh, alrighty. Well, we'll get it done. We'll get the job done right now. But, man, if I had gotten to trap another one, if I'd been able to trap another one in the hand, I would have felt so good. I believe we're fine attacking here with Shalai. And then next turn, +1/+1 counters, right? Right. Double green. Oh, here come the bolts. It's on. It's on. Never mind. We might not even get to March. How obnoxious. We need an Explorer creature. Drawing the double Arch is really biting us here, too. Come on now. Give me a white source. Give me an Explorer creature. You are neither of those things. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Yeah, I'm still taking hits. And the opponent's kicking it on back. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I draw a card. Hi. All right. Other white source. Hold up. It'll have to wait a turn. The opponent goes a full cycle without playing anything, though. I guess they're clinging to this Chain Whirler, thinking it could matter. Here comes the beats. No blocks. I might just be dead, but I'll die with my boots on. Oh my lord. Well, this draw turned into a flood, didn't it? Oh my god. We have the exact same configuration as spells from our opener, except these marches, which we haven't been able to cast until this moment. And will it be burned to the face for lethal? Yeah, it will be an experimental frenzy. Okay. And then what? Our opponent's hand must be pretty nasty. All right, here's a shock. Is it also a lightning strike? The opponent's not attacking. Okay, there you go. Attack with that pyro. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lifelinkers. Hiya! And we'll put one here, and we'll put a whole bunch over here. So doing a giant group block with your lifelinking creatures is wise because they all get to deal damage, so they all get to gain life. Now, because first strike is going to happen, the lifelink would leave us lethal. First strike damage happens first, so somebody does have to block the Chain Whirler. We don't have a choice there. All right, but we do want to make sure everybody gets some blocks. And we go up to 9. We untap. That's a Path of Discovery. Oh my god. Sorry, whispering. But wow, what a draw. All right, we'll put out the Memorial to Glory. We'll pass the turn. Oh my god, this is going to be so glorious. When all hope was lost, when all looked to be at an end, CGB drew the March of the Multitudes. CGB drew the Path of Discovery. CGB had 2 Wildgrowth Walkers. And the world came crashing down upon the Red Mage. Actually, we don't have to do this now. Let's just untap and do it now. In fact, let's make this glorious. Attack. That sends a message. There's a block. Okay, if they hadn't blocked, I think we could have just killed them. 6, 7, 8. March for 8. Holy crap. 8 Path of Discovery triggers. That's a lot of exploration, and that is a red mage running to the hills. This is a very slow hand on the draw. I think we have to keep it. But man, it is slow. Oh well, let's see what happens. It's just one of those things where I can't expect a mulligan into much better. The best hope that you have is that you have a Llanowar Elf, but if you're against a red deck, which is what this hand was already very weak to, a Llanowar Elf isn't going to live anyway. So basically what I'm saying is being on the draw against red is bad, folks. Our opponent reading Memorial to Glory. Sacrifice it, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Jeskai control. Well, being slow isn't the end of the world against Jeskai control. They have a lot of stuff to answer. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those games. It's gonna be one of those. Let me check my hand. What should I do? Alrighty. Well, the information you can try to pull is that they likely have a syncopate, and they're trying to decide if this is what they use it on, or they use it on something else. Ooh, a nice curve filler right on top of the deck in Jadelight Ranger. Very fortunate for us. Now I don't know if we gained information from that pause at all. This is just going to be a pausing opponent, I think. I'll clean my mouse. How does all that gunk get stored up in the little lines in your mouse? In the crevices? Oh, it's so nasty. And then your mouse pad. Where does it get all that dirt from? Is that all just from my hand? I wash my hands, I swear I do. My mama raised me right. Maybe it's time for a new mouse pad. Our opponent selects a Memorial to Genius before passing the turn back over. Let's send a creature at them and see... Oh, nope, nothing to say about that. So it's definitely a counterspell in hand. Well, we have to draw out their counters anyway, so let's go get countered. Or if we get, what's the card I'm thinking of? Deafening Clarion, that's fine too. Graveyard. You're past your time, Elf. If we get Deafening Clarion, we get to resolve the Path of Discovery. And like I said in the intro, Memorial to Glory plus Path of Discovery is how you keep uncounterable pressure on the opponent. We also have an Ixalan's Binding if they tap out for that lovely Teferi. And here's a land, and here's a path. And no Teferi. Well, I'm not sure that I want to sacrifice my land then. They only have enough for 1 counter, and they only have 2 blue sources. Most, they would have to have some weird combination. Most don't run like Ionize and Negate. So this feels like I can get at least a creature onto the battlefield. Let's see if we can resolve this Llanowar Elf first, as I doubt that one will get countered. And then what? We could go for Jadelight Ranger. We could also go for Shalai. Shalai survives a Clarion. Jadelight Ranger might survive a Clarion with Path of Discovery. Shalai would most likely eat a counterspell, but I'm not really worried about anything else eating a counterspell. Let's go with Jadelight. If Jadelight eats a counterspell, I'm really happy. Because that means Shalai is more likely to actually resolve and is harder to deal with on the battlefield. I'd love to shut down the Settle the Wreckage. Hey, that resolved. Alright, if we see... Alright, we see a land. So we can't get Jadelight Ranger out of Clarion range. I think we'll just library that. So, Jeskai Mage, what next? I'm reading you for another Clarion. Reading my March of the Multitudes, reading my Path of Discovery. Yeah, those work together. It's a combo. In a very loose sense, that Forest and Llanowar Elf is a combo. 2 cards that work together. Oh, I see. We're just going to tap out for Niv. I'm going to break your heart. Too bad. So sad. And I guess, well, I'll just play out this tap land and slam for 5. Didn't see Ixalan's binding coming? Probably not. Feels so much better, too, than a Conclave Tribunal, because if it were a Conclave Tribunal, another Niv could come right down. And we'll see what our opponent comes up with this time. Last time it was go in the tank, play Niv. This time it's go in the tank, play Rawl. What's Rawl gonna do?
Let's see what you got.
Rawl's gonna plus.
Decisions.
And Lava Coil on the Ranger. All right. Well, I don't know if my opponent runs things like, I don't know if they're the Cleansing Nova type, but let's put out Shalai and the Jadelight Ranger and see what happens. I'm going to graveyard you because drawing another dork off the top isn't that important to me. Same with you, but I think I should grow my Jadelight Ranger first. So we'll go library, graveyard. Making it a 5/4, so it's out of Deafening Clarion range. And what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And a pump would be lethal. Let's go for face. Well, actually, a Raw Ultimate is one way that we'd lose the game. And the opponent probably can get there with 1 or 2 Settle the Wreckages. So let's just put that off as long as we can.
Signs indicate that hurt.
Right now, the Rawl does a 2 damage minus. Not enough to mess with Shalai, not enough to mess with the Jadelight Ranger. If our opponent did have a Cleansing Nova, I need to force them to use it on the board, not my enchantments. So playing out makes a lot more sense there, even if they have the Nova. Because if we go conservative, they can blow up the binding in the path and have a Niv, and that's a lot worse, I think. Here comes Raleigh boy.
Decision time.
Now they can't settle the wreckage as long as I have a Shalai. They can seal away the Shalai. That's probably the worst thing. And here's Chemister's Insight, ripping off the top. Still looking, trying to find a way out of this bind. Get it? Boom, boom, jokes. Let's zap the tower. Sorry, Goose. It's time to buzz the tower. It's time to shake the giant monster thingy. Raw, raw. Alright, that's gonna be game when our opponent gets done goofing. Oh, I see. They make the creature. Ah, yeah, that'll do. That'll keep you alive. Alright, in that case we don't have to pump the squad, but we can, say, have March or Memorial to Glory ready. The opponent has to block this creature or they die, so we can attack with our Llanowar Elf if we wish. But the Elf can turn into more creatures with like March of the Multitudes, but if they wipe the board, that doesn't happen anyway. So I guess I'll take the damage. And yeah, I think it's all about the face. Face is the place. I could take Rawl down a peg, but I don't think that really does me much good. Well, actually, if we can't kill, taking away the card advantage sources is probably better. But then we do have to use the mana to pump the Shalai. If the opponent blocks. Is that what we wish to do? Not really. I don't really want to pump. I want to have a recourse if they sweep the board. Yeah, let's go face. Face is fine. And then if they somehow sweep the board or try to catch up, we can March of the Multitudes on end step, and that should be enough. They would have to be able to sweep and counter. I think that's putting a lot of pressure on them, and I'll probably play a Wildgrowth Walker now, just because. Down to 7. We still have 5 mana to activate Memorial to Glory, so we don't even have to march. But here's a Walker with a Path of Discovery trigger, makes it bigger, hits our land drop, love it. We still have mana up for Shalai if we want to go that route too. This would not be a fun time to get a Nexus of Fate played on me, I will say that. I will say that. Usually the Nexus of Fate doesn't go in the deck with the Niv Mizzet, but you never know. It is the arena. People do whatever they want to do. And can't nobody tell them otherwise. Whether it's YouTube comments or Twitch comments, anytime I'm building a deck or talking about a deck, everybody plays the same game. This is the part where I yell out the card that I think should be in the deck. And everybody has some different cards. And there's always different cards yelled every time, including cards I'm like, I would never play that in a million years. It's all part of the experience. We all bond, I guess, with certain cards, with certain types of cards, with certain abilities. It's part of what makes Magic great. You get a little bit of self-expression with all of your nonsense.
Well, let's see what the wind blows in.
Indeed, let's find out. What you got, Raul? And a -2 makes another dork.
Must be built.
And Teferi, of course, the full Super Friends unite!
I can no longer stand by and watch.
Rightio. Well, do I want to draw the Shalai again when my opponent's tapped out? Not really. So I could either pump now or I could scry back into it, I guess, and redraw it. But I don't really care if I redraw this card or not. So with that in mind, let's march first. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. It's a march for 4. All right. And the opponent knows, but they're tapped out. Now they're really dead. Library. That'll do. Yes, please. Man, my timer is just going. I mean, I'm clicking as fast as I possibly can. My opponent's been roping every turn, and I'm the one who gets that timer treatment? Ah, I'm insulted. Roar! Just a little bit of rage on top. Get out of that if you can. Triggers. Feel the power. Next, all attack. Hiya. What a battering that turned into. We are on the draw with a nice little Explory Tribunal-y thing. Not much of the deck synergy, but hopefully that will come with some help from our Explorer buddies. Uh-oh. This is a hard matchup. This is not the matchup, friends. This is a toughie. Especially without a Wildgrowth Walker. Not where you want to be. Good old little mono blue. Unless, of course, it's some kind of pirate shenanigan. And is it one of those... Did you know that supposedly Curious Obsession on your 1-drop creature on turn 2 should only happen in 20% of your games? Seems like it happens every freaking day to me. I don't know. What do you guys think of that number? Stats. Now I know just exactly how unlucky I got every time they do that. Ooh, but the Wildgrowth Walker off the top. Shiny. And no Curious Obsession yet. Second Storm Tamer. Yep. I wonder if they have a counter for my Wildgrowth Walker. Okay, well, just in case they do, let's go straight to the Jadelight Ranger instead. Because that can put a clock on them if they don't counter this. So they really need to. And they don't. Alright, they either don't have the counter or they're trying to save it for Wildgrowth Walker. But letting me develop my board while they're playing 1/1s, isn't that good for them? Now, it's really not good for me as I drew these lands. These lands, we needed to make this into at least a 3/2. So it's a much slower clock than it needs to be. And if they just say go, I have to be careful. I don't want to just run my Wildgrowth Walker out. But let's see what happens here. Is it Merfolk Trickster? It's the Trickster. All right. And are we blocking too? Are we using a dive down? Jeez, combat trick dive down. Okay. Well, that opened the window. Let's jump right through it. Let's make our little Tarmogoyf Wildgrowth Walker. For those who don't know, Tarmogoyf is a giant creature in Modern. It's 2 mana, basically huge ball of stats. And it is now the benchmark when you say that Wildgrowth Walker is a Tarmogoyf. We mean it's only 2 mana, and then it becomes a giant monster. Same thing with a Shanagoyf, when Shana becomes a giant monster, although that term not nearly as popular as maybe it will be someday. Let's see what the opponent has for this Branchwalker. I bet they counter it out of fear. Yes, yes.
Fear. The city is rank with it.
Let's see, this is 5, and then we play a creature that's 9, so it's not City's Blessing yet. So yeah, we're definitely playing Jadelight Ranger. I just count because I feel like it. And that'll draw the scoop. So yeah, excellent. This hand is very close to a keep with a white source, but without one, it is not. And this is one of those Explorer hands. Let's roll. Play some Explorer creatures, March of the Multitudes, have a good time. Actually, we can't cast this. Might have been a mistake. I always forget it's double white. For some reason, what's stuck in my head, and I don't know why, is that it's green, green, white, not white, white, green. And it leads to a lot of mistakes like the one that I just made. And it doesn't matter how many times I seem to play with the card. This keeps happening. So, and wow, that is a punishment if ever I've been punished. And that is vindication. So, our opponent has the turn 2 Wildgrowth Walker out of a Golgari Explorer shell. That's scary. And probably going to be an issue. This matchup, we can do some bigger, crazier things than them, but a few specific cards like Vivian Reed can absolutely wreck us. And an early Wildgrowth Walker is just as bad as it is in other matchups, but with no Explorer before the attack, I'm thinking that they're lacking more Explorer things, or they're going for double Wildgrowth, which is even more of a beating. They're lacking the Explorer things. Fortunate am I. Yes, yes. Let's send over our Branchy. Our opponent holding a Cast Down or an Assassin's Trophy, almost for sure. And I'm going to go for the other Walker and get the Memorial to Glory online. Why not? I'd love to have the Jadelight Ranger when I draw my own Wildgrowth Walker. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but just trying to set up, just being set up, hopefully for some later success. And there's a Jadelight Ranger from our opponent. I wonder if they had that before or they just slow rolled. And they keep another Wildgrowth Walker. That means they do have more Explorer stuff. Weird. Weird. I don't understand them. I don't know who they are anymore. No blocks. I guess we better Conclave Tribunal one of these Wildgrowth Walkers. Alright, let's play our Jadelight Ranger. Hitting 2 land. You. Let's Tribunal down the first Wildgrowth Walker. And then let's set up for a big old March of the Multitudes next turn while the opponent fiddles with the other Wildgrowth Walker. Too many lands. Too many lands. But I guess that goes pretty well with March of the Multitudes. Alright, Jadelight Ranger. I'm sure the plan is to beat and smash face. Then Wildgrowth Walker into another Jadelight Ranger, I guess is what I'm predicting. Why would you keep a Wildgrowth Walker on top if you didn't have another Explorer creature? You must have one more Explorer creature. Oh, I see. So cast down finally comes down. All right. Nice draw. I think I'd rather march first. So we'll go with a land and an elf, and we'll say go, then we'll march, and then we'll Tristani and swing for bajillions. Remember, it's the same if we cast the elf or don't cast the elf. We get the same amount of tokens, but this way we also have an elf on the battlefield. So 1 mana creatures or 2 mana spells that make 2 creatures, like Saproling Migration, are great to play with March, as long as you still have the 2 white sources. When all is said and done. Our opponent with a fine finality, fingering their graveyard. Look, there's still nothing there. It's just a cast down. Maybe they're just checking for their Memorial to Folly. I don't know. If they attack, we're taking the damage, because our counter swing will be massive. And Orazca's Contempt targeting my Branchwalker. Well, that's 1 less March token if I don't do this now, so I'm going to do this now. It may mean our opponent doesn't attack for as much, but I think it's still worth it, and plus we have 2nd March for next turn. I bet they still attack. Maybe not with the Wildgrowth Walker, that would be a bad attack, but I bet Jadelight still wants to be frisky. In which case, I'm considering double march into Tristani. Just for the extra sauce. This must be either another cast down or an Assassin's Trophy. And no attacks, alright? Land go. If we play the Branchwalker, it's 1 less token with March of the Multitudes. Not really what I'm looking for. So their last card, probably not a finality then, considering the way priority was held, unless our opponent is on full control. I think it's another cast down or an Assassin's Trophy. And then they just drew God knows what. Oh, we're going to finality. Okay. Sure. That works. You gonna attack me too? Because I'll make creatures. Alrighty. Don't think they read that memorial. Now I'll just rebuild the board and then march. Oops. Alright, well, they ran themselves out of toys. Let's put some creatures on the battlefield. I'll start with Merfolk Branchwalker. And that did hit a land, so we don't have to pay 2 life for a Temple Garden, and we'll play the Shalai. And then we'll probably pump with Shalai next turn, and probably all the turns in the future. Just keep pumping until they kill Shalai, because let's try to make our things bigger than finalities and just bigger than everything our opponent can do. Of course, we still do have the combo. Looks like our opponent top decked the removal. Must be nice. Let's go get a white source then. Oh, yeah, I don't run basic planes. My bad. Those turn 1 Llanowar Elves. It's not the easiest thing to do. Alright, Arch of Orazca. March into Tristani now? I love it. Let's do it. Here we go. Just blowing up my lands, just getting back my things. No big deal. Pure combo. And let's make a whole bunch of dorks. And let's show them the meaning of pain. Hiya! I suppose we'll play out one more tapped land. It helps in the long run. Run this Arch of Orazca party that we're throwing. Now the opponent's going to do their explory stuff. But this is a lot of damage we've got coming your way. They keep a Midnight Reaper in a moment like this. A moment like this. Alright. Everybody hit him. We can play another Tristani. It's legendary. So if the opponent wants to block that, they're going to take a ton of damage. That's right up the alley for what we're trying to do. Now they fear death. Oh no, they're definitely still killing Tristani. Okay. Blocks are hard, I guess. Wonder what they're thinking of playing around here. I think that they're trying to get the Branchwalker on the Branchwalker, something bigger on the Tristani. I don't. Yep, there we go. You did it. There we go. You did it. So proud. So now you're at 4 life, drawing against this board with a Midnight Reaper on top of your deck. I'd have tried, I don't know, I'd have tried to explore into something different. So, what's the plan? Hope I don't attack. Oh, I see. Counterattack, yes. Send a message. Maybe they have an attack with X creatures quest. Haha, another march. Alright, let's get him. And then Golgari, you have fallen. Well, we have the Wildgrowth Walker. I think that makes this a keep. Getting a white source, getting more land. There's a lot of things that need to go right, but with the Wildgrowth Walker, I think it's worth the gamble. Our opponent's scrying to the top and leading on a Submerged Boneyard. There's a card I haven't seen in a minute. Too much ranked. And search for his Kanta on too. You know, they be rolling. Let's see what they got for the Wildgrowth one. And a disinfo campaign. We are off to the races. What's the discard? I think it's the the Tristani's such a good one, though. What's the discard, do you think? I think it's actually one of the Branchwalkers. Because I think that these are enough power that you just need their help. And Ritual set, I mean, that's the God Draw. If they got to the God Draw on 6, more power to them. So we found a white source. I guess this can be the play next turn along with another Branchwalker, so I'll leave it on top, and it's good even if they sweep the board. And let's get in there. Our opponent bins the land, so they don't need land. Wow. They literally mulled to 6 and hit the God Draw. I'm so impressed. I never get to do this when I play Dimir. Or you can probably link to videos where I did this playing Dimir, to be honest. I just don't remember it that way. I remember it in a salty way of the times I get run over playing Dimir. And Doom Whisper, oh my god! It's so perfect. It's so beautiful. All right, though. Let's play you. They're doing it now? I'm not done with my turn. You might want to reconsider your surveil after I remove your Doom Whisperer, but we'll see. They ban what? A land. They kept a card. Tribunal. It's a pretty good turn. Ritual Soot doesn't kill at all. I get to keep Tristani. So let's see what happens. And they did keep their card on top after all, so maybe it's another Doom Whisper. I mean, Doom Whisper into Doom Whisper into Doom Whisper ain't bad. And you can have... Actually, I think March of the Multitudes is going to be the hardest thing to resolve. But it's really good to hold up if my opponent's doing this nonsense, so I'll drop off the Branchwalker. But I have a feeling there's going to be a Thought Erasure or something. No? What's going on? Must be something to kill the Tristani. If it's not, my opponent's crazy. Well, I definitely want to march, but how much? Maybe I'm supposed to go for Jadelight. My opponent's showing me Sinister Sabotage. I'm not supposed to go for anything on my turn. But let's just attack with these. And let's leave Tristani so that we can march. Even for 2 is adding 4 power to the battlefield. And we'll do it on my opponent's turn. Not on mine. 3 cards in the graveyard. Okay. We've got him at 8. We got him on the run. Now they're binning a Sabotage. Here's another campaign. No problem. And there's a scoop. Wow, after that hot opening, Tristani into Conclave Tribunal brings it all the way back. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. We got to see the deck do its thing against a variety of the better decks in the meta, which I think always makes for a good video, just seeing how it matches up with some of the decks you will face every day out there. I hope you give this a try. It's still one of my favorite decks from this meta. I would call it just below tier 2. There are, of course, great draws like you see here, but there are also a lot of matchups that are very tough. Drake's in particular is not something you want to play with ever, but a fun deck nonetheless. Great against red, which always means a lot to me, and just something I will always have a special place in my heart for, the Immortal Explorers. Thank you for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. My YouTube channel is proudly supported by HauntedFlower.com, shipping officially licensed apparel anywhere in the world, and now featuring Magic the Gathering apparel and accessories. If you use the promo code CGB at your checkout, you can save 10% on any order. That's the promo code CGB at checkout on HauntedFlower.com. That's HauntedFlower.com.